Coming up next on Parent Connection, a conversation with Kerry Petz from Arnold Elementary School. Welcome to Parent Connection. Today our guest is Kerry Petz from Arnold Elementary School. Thank you for joining us, Kerry.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're a volunteer at Arnold Elementary School, but really one of the big things we want to talk about today is you were Anne Arundel County Public Schools winner for the Parent Involvement Matters Award.
Yes, I was. That was a great honor. It was a huge surprise that I was nominated by Jennifer Sapp from our school, and who's a friend of ours and a volunteer at the school. And then to find out that I won for Anne Arundel County was a huge surprise and great honor.
Well, for people who don't know what Parent Involvement Matters Award is, that's an award that comes from the Maryland State Department of Education. And it started as, we always hear about Teachers of the Year and Principals of the Year, but years ago, the president, or actually I guess at that time it was the superintendent of Maryland State Department of Education, wanted to do the same thing for parents because she wanted them to be recognized and, okay, let's see some of the great things that are going on around the state.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens. Anyone in the state can nominate parents, and there can be as many as they want nominated from each county, and then there's a committee that goes through and selects for each one. So you were selected as ours, and we are really honored to have you as that winner and have you here with us. So tell me a little bit about what the project was that she nominated you for. So
we were a little bit different in why I was nominated, where a lot of the people, once we got to the event, was a specific project that they did within the past school year. Mm-hmm. And I was nominated for the work that I've done over the past 7 years for our school, because we have been fighting to get a new school building and trying to push that process forward. Our building is extremely old, and there's just different little issues. There's an aging building, and we're kind of situated in an interesting spot at the bottom of a hill. So we have a lot of runoff water issues that had plagued the school. So working through that process over the years, as well as just community-based issues with crosswalks and street signage and things in our community that just weren't being done, and I helped facilitate a lot of that, and then became the PTA president. So from what I read and kind of gathered was that it was a culmination of kind of all of those things together was why I was nominated.
Right, and I think the person who nominated you, what they wanted to do was nominate somebody who was that all-around wonderful volunteer and did lots and lots of things at the school. Yes. So how did you originally get involved with volunteering at Arnold Elementary?
Again, it's sort of an interesting conversation because we live right around the corner from the school. So when we first moved in almost 11 years ago, neighbors who had kids at the school who were working towards trying to get the school rebuilt, and that's if my dates are correct, the feasibility or the MGT study was just coming out at the time, so that was not quite in play, so they were jockeying to try to get Arnold at the forefront of looking at being rebuilt. So they said, oh, you have little babies, like maybe someday this will happen for you. You should start coming to meetings and getting involved so that you can understand what's happening, because you live right here, and so it will definitely affect you because you live here and you have young children. So I started going to PTA meetings before the kids were in school, and which is something I don't know if a lot of people know, that community members can be part of your PTA. You don't have to have children at the school. You can be a grandparent, a neighbor, living around in the community to be a part of our PTAs. So I started there and started working and researching and having meetings with everyone from, state delegates and county councilmen, and just really learning the process of what it takes, because it's quite intense, when you realize what goes into these decisions at a huge level in a county as large as ours in the school system. So I started there, and then it became my kids walking to school, and there was no crosswalk. And I said, well, how is it possible that there isn't a crosswalk labeled at this major intersection where all the kids would naturally cross, and there's a daycare center there when those kids go from aftercare and before care to get to Arnold Elementary. Again, there's no crosswalk. Like, how is that possible? And it actually took over 6 months, and I finally had to call the Capitol Watchdog, and they're the ones that, you know, put the heat on, and within weeks we had the first of the 2 crosswalks we were looking for. And so it kind of just happened naturally when we moved in a long time ago.
But I think you really do point out something that's really important for people to understand. You don't have to have a child in the school to be involved in the PTA or volunteer at the school. I mean, we love that whole sense of community, and of course, if we can get people like you involved before you even have children, then it's really great because you're already that advocate. And it also helps you, I think, as a parent to kind of get to know the school and have that comfort level when your child's going to go.
Where they're going. We just had neighbors move in that have a young child, and you know, we said the same thing. We're just like, you should start coming. You should see what's going to happen, because we are actually in the design phase of our new construction. So that process is moving along, and we said, you know, come along, because by the time your kids are there, you know, that way, and you're a community member. You live in the neighborhood where the school is being built. You'll want to know about the construction traffic and some of those timelines and things like that that might affect your morning commute. But to be involved and know that information from the get-go, and it does take, you know, it does give you some pride and ownership of what's going on in your community.
I think that's a really good point to make. And we're always looking for volunteers out there. And lots of times people they think that I can't really volunteer at the school unless I have a child there, or, oh, they're not going to really want me. And that's, of course, the farthest thing from the truth. We need so many volunteers. Yes, and all are welcome.
That's one of the things that when people are like, what can I do? You know, how do I see it? And I think one of the great things at Arnold that, as past PTA president, I tried to foster was, whatever is important to you. You know, you might be a math wizard. Well, there's no math club right now at Arnold, but you could come and start one. You know, working with the PTA and the principal, we could come up with a way to have you involved in the school, whatever that passion is for you or your skill set. It could be woodworking, it could be anything, but there's a way to add that mark into the school systems in the county, wherever you are, that I think there's a lot of people that feel like they don't know how they could fit in, and it's trying to find a way to fit them in. Not that the school has a predetermined agenda of what they want. Oh, I need a spirit wear person. I needed this, or, you know, I want the fall festival person. You need those people, but I also try to say it's okay if some of those things that they slide because there's no one interested in doing that. That's not someone's passion. Then maybe it's okay that that doesn't happen for a year or two, and you pick up someone new who is interested in something different. And again, it brings new life and new blood into the system. And in a couple of years, you'll have that person who's really into designing spirit wear, and they'll pick that up and, you know, bring that to the table again. That it's okay to have things that come and go.
Right, just a natural flow.
Yeah, as you know, people's interest and who's available to put time into things matters.
Well, you've mentioned a couple things that you've done at Arnold, and you've done lots. But tell me what you're the most proud of there.
I think really, I look at it 2 ways. As a community member, you know, my children are hysterical when they laugh. They're repaving the road near Arnold right now, and they dug it all up, and so the crosswalk went missing. So my children were like, Mom, your crosswalk's missing. You know, that it's my crosswalk. They will tell you that
of course.
It's my mom's crosswalk. But that they recognize over the years the different things that our time and effort has gone to. You know, they were there when we walked the street and showed the guys where we thought a crosswalk should be, the county roads people. And so that to me is invaluable, that my children have seen what community service is firsthand and know that it's not just us that walk there. Actually, my kids go through a back path now. They don't even use the crosswalk, but the hundreds of kids every day that go back and forth from before and after care are using that crosswalk. And so it's not about what benefits you personally. It's, you know, really for the good of the community. So that is really important. But also I think that culture at Arnold of bringing people's talents and skills to the table, whatever they are, and really letting go of stereotypes and things that you know, we used to have 27 enrichment programs after school, and the people that came on said, we would love to help, but that is a lot to manage.
That is a lot to maintain.
I don't think we can do it. I said, don't do it. Pick the 13 programs that you think run the best, manage the programs, whatever you can manage, because you've chosen to volunteer and nobody else has. So we will take whatever you will give to us and whatever you're capable of. And so one of those another example is Dr. Jessica Zinder is a master gardener, and she applied for a Unity grant and received it and built a meditation garden at Arnold. It is beautiful and it's wonderful, but I'm not a gardener. I don't know anything about which native plants should be where and when you have to water and things like that. But that was a passion of hers, and she got a group together and worked with the Dad's Club and the green team that we have. But letting her bring that to our school and facilitating that process as a PTA president with our principal and with the appropriate permitting people at the county and the school system to get that happening, and coordinating with the art teacher. That's what I think I'm most proud of, is that I feel like we've helped a lot of people become engaged in the community and really inspired them and kept them informed as we were going through this. We did our feasibility study and mobilizing for that and coming to school board meetings and county council meetings, that people really saw the value in that is something that, you know, I take a lot of pride in.
Well, that's really good. And then, as you said, you were PTA president as well, so you have lots they're looking to you to lead them and to say what's important and kind of go through the process a little bit and weed it out for other parents, because they do look to PTA to do those type of things.
Yeah, and I think that is important. And, you know, it's funny when you come to school board meetings, and, you know, I've been to hundreds of them, you learn so many things, but you have to remember that the average parent hasn't been to those meetings, does not understand completely the budget process. You know, they understand what they read in the paper or might see online here and there, but the nuances of the intricacies of a lot of these processes, they don't understand those. And again, that is one of those things that Lisa Bodie, the new PTA president, and she's our CAC chair, we worked together for years in really not red flagging everything. You know, we only wave the red flag when it's necessary. And,
that's
you know,
good.
really sharing the high level information to try not to overload everybody, but wanting to know, like, this is the important time. This is when we really need you. And, you know, we can ask for help for Fall Festival and volunteer, whatever those littler things are, and guiding people that way. But through this process, which is a very, you know, we're kind of in the middle and we're going to get through construction and design, there's going to be those meetings where we have to have conversations and sharing information. And so it has been great, and I feel like we've done a great job of keeping everyone informed in, you know, again, they don't need every little, that's what they trust us for. And that trust that we've built with them over the years is that they know we're giving them the facts, and we have put our school's best interests at heart and their children's interests at heart from the beginning. And we have worked with the appropriate people to make the best decisions, and now we're relaying that information to them.
And I think that's an important statement you just said, working with the appropriate people, because one of the really important things to have a great volunteer program is that relationship you build with, first of all, the administration, your principal and vice principal and school staff, the teachers there. It's so important to have a trust and a really strong relationship there, because then they're going to rely on you to come to the board meetings, and you know, you might not depend on people as much if you haven't gotten that relationship.
Yeah, and it is, you know, a totally collaborative effort where, you know, and when I say to a lot of people, I said, it's not what the school wants or what the PTA wants, you know, agenda-wise. You know, they use the word agenda sometimes. And you've seen PTAs that aren't functioning because somebody is really, we want this and we have to have this, this, and this. But you don't have parent support because it's not their interest, and it's not a collective interest of the teachers, the administration, and the parent body and the student body. And that's really where a lot of our successes has come from, where the garden is a great example, where the green team and the Dad's Club said, well, we'll build benches. And then the art teacher said, give them to me and I'll have the kids paint them. And every kid in school has a little crab or a little bridge or a turtle, something that they've done through art class on those benches that are now in the garden. But the dads built them, and Jessica made the garden, and they gave tours through the garden through each class so that each student got a chance to visit the garden and learn about the garden. And so collaboratively, but we needed support from our art teacher and the principal saying, yes, they're going to take time out of whether it was social studies or science to do the tours and things like that. But collectively, that was able to happen because we all worked together. But that was nobody's vision but Jessica's to start with.
Right.
Nobody was sitting, no teacher was sitting at home going, oh, I should build a garden. They didn't have time for that. It's amazing and they love it and it's wonderful. And being open to that experience of someone coming to you with an idea is really a huge asset to the PTA as well as the administration, and seeing how someone's maybe outlandish idea could really benefit the students in the school and the community as a whole.
And I think that's really the important thing, that you're open to you're open to new ideas, you're open to things, you work with the administration, so they've got that trust in you. The other thing is true, what you're saying, I really like the part that you're saying about, okay, maybe we don't have the volunteers this year that can do all of the programs we used to do. Because I think that to change sometimes is very scary to schools. Or if your PTA has always done it this way and you don't have the volunteers who want to do the same thing or want to do something new, and people are afraid to try it. But if you don't go out there and try those new things, then you will lose the passion. Because people really only get passionate about something that they really want or they have an interest in.
It is. And that is kind of going into some of what I would like to continue doing, is working with other PTAs. And I have met wonderful parents from all over the county and the state now from Pima Dinner, and learn different things of what they're doing, and a lot of struggles that PTA, we kind of always talk about how awesome we are and what great things we're doing. And a lot of people don't always talk about some of the struggles that they have and changes and what that looks like. And so that is a huge thing, which I think once we kind of said it and put it out there, everyone took this collective sigh of relief saying, oh, the Fall Festival doesn't have to have 37 booths and a haunted house and a freaky science lab. We said, no, somebody loved that and they gave birth to that and they nurtured it, and now their children graduated and it's gone, and that's okay. If we only have this many volunteers and people's schedules are changing and the time of year, and then it's okay to let it be what it is now. And that was, you could just see people's faces go, what a burden being lifted, feeling like they had to keep going
and
on
keep
what
competing and making it better every year.
And it can be great and different. And we did the same thing with our graduation ceremony and how we ran that a little bit differently. And in our enrichment program, we dropped our enrichment programs down again, because facilitating that, and people don't understand, you might have a parent who says, but I wanted my kid to take Taekwondo after school. And that's very, we appreciate that, but we need more volunteers to help support that program. And we would love to have you help support that program. And if you are able to do that, we can help facilitate how that works. But under the people who are volunteering right now, this is what we can manage. And so this is what we are able to offer. And so it has been a great way to actually for us to also get more volunteers, because they've noticed programs changing or downsizing, and we're not doing school dinner spirit nights. And we said, oh, would you like that? We would love for you to help us. We need someone to help us run that program. So if you and a friend get 2 or 3 of your friends together, we will help support you and show you how to start that program and what that looks like. And we are happy to do that, but we can't run that program right now because we are tapped out as leadership and volunteers.
Well, and that leads into a great next question, like what drives you to stay involved? Because you did have some really good successes and you've done a lot, but what keeps you motivated? Because I think that as people are listening to this, that's what some of them are doing. Okay, how can I keep my PTA or my parent volunteers or whoever it is, how can I keep them motivated? So what does that for you?
So for me personally, I think I'm just that person. I've just been driven to better the place where I've lived and worked, and my children spend the most of their time. So I work full time also, so I want where my children spend their time to be the most amazing place, a safe place, a secure place that has great opportunities. And so that drives me. And obviously I do live in the community, so, and this baby of building a new school, I will see that through until that school is built and new kids are there, and my children will never go to that school. But we live there, and it's not about my kids, it's about the young next door neighbor and friends that have infant children now that will go there. But knowing that path that we took to get here and how long it's taken us. So that alone is one of my drivers. But simple things as the crosswalks, and we need a new signage at a new intersection, and just making that phone call and knowing that you've made a difference for me is a personal driver. So bringing that to our group of volunteers and our families, I really tried to say it doesn't have to be 200 hours. There's no hour checkbox. We don't count hours at Arnold Elementary. We don't give prizes for whoever gave the most hours because everyone gives in different ways. And we have people, if you are writing emails at midnight because you're up at midnight, there is a project, you could be counting box tops. You could be, there's a million things in a million different times and ways that people could be giving of their time and helping. And it doesn't have to be the flashy person putting on the festival or leading, the charge of something big and huge. And really a lot of it mostly is what is most important to you. If you have a child that is into Legos and you want to start a little Lego club, or you personally have built model rockets, or whatever that is for you, and how can you connect that to the community and to the school, I think builds the most passion. And as a leader for your volunteers, it's really hearing them and hearing what they're willing to give and what they're interested in giving, and making it a smooth and easy process to be a part of the community makes them want to continue to be a part, and recognizing them as well. As we host a pre-school event as well as throughout the year volunteer appreciation events, because they are and our teachers and our school are very gracious to us as well in their appreciation to the parents and volunteer group, that that is required. You have to show some appreciation to it for them to just know that they're recognized and appreciated. But keeping it personal to each individual, I think, gives you the best chance of them staying committed long term, and also understanding they're going to start a program, but when their child graduates, whether it's 5th grade or 8th grade, that program is going to go with them, and letting that be okay. And again, finding that new, younger group of people, whatever their passion and interest is, to build throughout the years.
Right, and that's what we always say. We love to get parents by pre-K, kindergarten, those young ages, because they usually will stay with you.
Yeah.
What's your best advice that you could give parents who are out there thinking about volunteering, or if they want to start volunteering, what's advice that you would give to them?
So, I think the first thing you start is by going to your local PTA meeting, whether it's your school or the school your child might be going to, but getting involved, seeing where they're at, seeing what their needs are, and how you can, we have marketing geniuses. Like, you have people in every kind of working environment at every single school. There's talents.
Right.
They might be chefs. They could teach a cooking class, but go to those meetings, see where your school is at, and then offer to help in some small way. And you don't have to start big. We have people that we know would eventually like to be a president or a treasurer, and they say, but not yet. I just want to run one little program.
Exactly.
And then grow
Start
it with
small.
another little program, and be a volunteer on a committee. You don't need to start being the chair of a committee. And again, but don't be afraid to put forth your ideas. If you see a need that your school has or your community has, you can make that happen. And hopefully, there are PTAs that I've heard that you don't want to hear that from you. And if you get the feeling that you're not being heard and your ideas aren't going to be welcome there, then there's other avenues within the county. There are other schools that don't have fully functioning PTAs that would love anything that you brought to their doorstep.
Exactly.
And guidance that you could give them. So that's kind of where my next step will be, because Arnold is a fully functioning PTA and we have great volunteers, that I would like to see us help other schools who don't have fully functioning PTAs try to grow their programs and give them a little bit of that support, because it can be daunting, and how to encourage volunteerism. And different schools in the county all have different economic issues and transportation issues surrounding how you can function after school events and things like that, to try to support other schools. So you can take your skills and actually give them anywhere in the county. And they would be more than happy, talking to a principal at a school that might need some support. They may need that math tutor in the afternoon, or the science guy, or a garden. We can go take those programs to other schools as well.
Well, I really like that idea, because we do have schools who, for whatever reason, may be struggling right now with their parent group. So if we have, and we suggest that sometimes too, if you have more volunteers than you can handle at your school, because you just happen to have that community of people that can do it, think about going out and adopting another school. And lots of times you're going to learn things from them that because you haven't gone through their struggles, so you're going to hear some great ideas that they've put into place, but maybe you can give them some manpower.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, we've learned through friends and through just being on different boards and things like that. It's just fascinating. They're like, oh, you do this, and oh, you did it through PayPal. We didn't think we could do that. And simplifying our lives has really, with computers and the technology of paying online and simplifying paperwork, has streamlined a lot of things, which frees up time to be able to give it in a different way. And sharing those ideas with each other has been great for all, oh, you do a father-daughter dance. We've never had one. How did you start that? And what do you do? Because then you have boys. We said we do a mother-son event. And how do you facilitate that? And what did that look like? And, now another school in the peninsula has done the father-daughter dance. And so seeing the programs grow and change in that way is great also. And again, because different PTAs are at different places all over the county, that's where I like to say, if you feel like you're not getting the support you need at your school, and sometimes it's just they can't handle it because they have different issues going on.
Right, exactly.
It does take a little bit of work on our administration's part to help facilitate us. We understand that, for every big project, there is something that the administration has to give a little bit to help us, which is more workload on them. And so another school may not be able to accept that at that time, but there's another school out there that would accept that and will be able to help you, and plenty of places within the county school system that you could volunteer, and there's committees, all different levels, school levels, middle school, board level, that people could volunteer and feel like they're being heard and appreciated and giving their talents of what their skill set is.
Well, I think that's a great place for us to finish the interview, because that's exactly right. All are welcome, and we can do anything we can do. We want you to do for us. We'd love to have you. We are so happy to have you joining us.
Thank you.
Kerry, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Hi, I'm Jody Rissy, the host for Food for Thought. Russell Schlegel from Schlegel Farms in Waldorf, Maryland is joining me, and we're going to talk about the partnership between Anne Arundel County Public Schools and Schlegel Farms. Russell, how important is it serving produce to the communities and the students here in Anne Arundel County and at home?
A lifetime of healthy eating begins with the little ones.
To watch the full interview, join me later today on Food for Thought.